Hi, welcome. My name is Nicole DeAndrea, and I'm super happy to be with you today, presenting on one of my all-time favorite business topics, sales. This is Sales School, and I can't wait to dive in. But before I do, just a couple of words about me and my background. I am first and foremost a longtime yoga student and teacher. I've been teaching yoga since 2008. I opened my brick and mortar studio business, Blackbird Yoga Studio, in 2016. I have seen my business through all kinds of growth and challenge, most notably the COVID-19 pandemic of 2020. But I am proudly on the other side, proud to say that the studio is still thriving, still serving our community, and still coming up with new and innovative ways to expand our reach and expand our impact. So I think it's important that anyone watching this presentation knows that I approach my work as a business consultant from the perspective of someone who truly has their ear to the ground in a studio and has truly lived the same struggle, the same challenges, and most importantly, the same passion for the work that you do. These days, I spend the vast majority of my time as a certified business consultant who helps other studios grow and scale and build the types of systems into their businesses that will help them succeed, that help them drive revenue, streamline their processes, onboard the right team, so that ultimately the entrepreneurs that I work with get to focus their energy and attention on the things that they love to do, working with their clients and creating the kinds of programming that's going to really make them happy. And so sales is such a critical, important piece of any business, but for some reason in these heart-led businesses that we tend to run, the word sales gets a little bit of a bad rap. It can feel kind of sleazy. It can feel a little presumptuous to ask for your clients to continue on with you. But I'm here to say that revenue is the lifeblood of any successful business, and there's a way to sell that really puts the client first and utilizes a nurturing and education rather than just kind of a hard close, money-driven tactic. And so we're going to walk through an entire process specifically focused on turning your kind of warm leads, people who have kind of entered your studio, opted into your trial, and are testing the waters, how to turn them into raving fans who ultimately become lifelong members and active promoters of your business. So let me grab my slides here. All right. First of all, marketing versus sales. I think it's super critical that anyone watching this presentation has a clear distinction between the two. It's important that when you're analyzing your business and trying to understand where your focus, your effort, your dollars are best spent, that you know whether you have an acquisition or a retention problem. I hear day in and day out, I just need more butts on mats, bodies on bikes, people through the door, however you want to say it. And the truth is that the vast majority of boutique fitness businesses do not have a problem attracting new clients. They have a problem hanging on to them. It's a retention problem, and that needs to be addressed first. So when I work with clients and they say, I want to focus on my marketing, I want to drive new leads through the door, I'm asking them whether or not their retention process is dialed in, whether or not they know for sure that for every 2 new customers who come in, one of them is going to become a member. That's a 50% conversion rate. That's excellent. And that's what I'm going for with my people, right? But if that's not rock solid, if you can't say for sure that that you are converting, I would say something like 30 to 50% of your trial clients into auto pay members, then your challenge is not acquisition. You don't need more volume, you need better retention. And ultimately that comes down to more sales. So it's really, really key that you identify whether or not acquisition is actually the challenge for you. And if it's not, which spoiler alert, it's probably not, the retention piece has to come first. So that's what we're going to talk about today, a sales process or a client journey to really nurture the relationship between your studio and your new customers so that they ultimately decide to take the next step forward and become a member with you. This is a sad statistic, but it's one that's really important to understand, is that even though recurring revenue is the single most effective growth tool for all small businesses, and honestly, even large businesses, only 10% of trial clients convert to members in this industry on average. And these are for the businesses that are relying on what I affectionately refer to as hope marketing, selling their students a trial and hoping they love the class enough to decide to come back organically. It's just not going to cut it in today's market. It is so critical that you are starting the sales process from the moment that client walks through the door, actually before the client even walks through the door, so that you know for sure that your conversion is going to be better than average. Just a quick high-level walkthrough of what I'm going to teach you today. 4 steps to closing the sale. 1 is connection. It's to start the relationship between your studio and your client. So you will acquire your client somehow, some way. Maybe you called out to them on social media. Maybe they found you through your website. Maybe they searched for you on Google. Maybe they gave your studio a call. But you need to establish the relationship somehow, of course, and that is step 1, which should trigger everything else, and right away. So one of the things that's really key is that when someone does make contact with your business, whether they fill out a form on your website or they respond to one of your ads or they call you or whatever it is, that someone is following up with them as soon as possible after they've made contact with you. The sooner the better. I mean, if we can automate it and make it instantaneous, that's best. And the reason why is because there is a motive for that client reaching out to you at the moment that they did. There's a reason that they're thinking about you. Something took them over the threshold. Either their pain became unbearable, or their anxiety, has become too much, or they're just sick of sitting on the couch. But whatever it is, there was an impetus for them to reach out to you. And it's super key that whoever's on your team, be that you or someone who's representing you, is following up that lead ASAP. So step 1, you need to connect. Step 2, and we'll talk about a couple of different ways to do this. We want to educate the customer, and we want to educate the customer on the ways that they will be most successful with you. So which classes should they take? Which services should they take advantage of? Which teachers do you think that they're going to jive with? What are the benefits of the service that you provide? We really want to lay all of that out there to show the client just how much value we can add to their lives. Then we want to nurture that client. One of the biggest and most powerful drivers of sales, whether or not a client decides to say yes to you, is whether or not they feel like your experience was personal and easy. So we'll talk about ease later on, but personalization is so key to a successful sales process. Our customers want to feel like they are seen. They want to feel like the recommendations you make are personal to them. They want to feel like they are interacting with actual human beings. I mean, this is the age of digital stuff, right? Our clients, all people, all of us are inundated with technology all the time. So anything that you can do to really establish the human element, to speak to the client in the right language, in the right way, at the right time, is really, really powerful stuff. And then, of course, after we've done all of that foundational work, we close the sale with an offer that feels urgent and time sensitive and gives the client a reason to say yes right then and there on the spot. All right, so the steps to connect. 1 is what I call an intentional intake process. So it's a process of understanding why your client is standing in front of you at the moment that they are. Again, there's always a reason. Maybe it's because their previous studio closed, but more likely it's because their doctor told them they should get into yoga, or they're ready to lose weight, or they are ready to bounce back after having a baby. That's a personal one for me. I just had my son a couple of months ago. But we want to understand those things about our clients, and we want to reflect them back at them later on in the process. So understanding why they're there is really key to personalizing the experience moving forward, and also to making the right recommendations. So we want to use the results of that intentional intake to recommend a schedule that's going to help them meet their goals. If they aspire to get stronger, coming once a week isn't going to cut it. And that's really key. I really want you to realize that we're not selling Coca-Cola here. We're selling something that truly transforms our clients' lives. We make them better, we help them feel better, and that's something that they need to do a couple of times a week to really see the results. And the best retention technique in the whole entire world is not anything I'm going to talk about today. The best retention technique is results. And so we want them coming frequently for everyone's benefit. We want to ask our clients open-ended questions. And this is really key to selling anything, is for you as the salesperson or whoever may be representing your business to do 20% of the talking and 80% of the listening. Allow your clients to open up, because the more information we get about not only what their pain points are, but the way that they describe them, the better we can reflect that back at them. We always want to repeat back to the client in their own words. So this is a misstep that I think a lot of particularly yoga studios make, but any boutique fitness business can hear this. Yoga people speak in their own language. We talk about postures in a foreign language, and we talk about I don't know, different types of meditations and things that like new clients just don't necessarily understand. We want to make our clients feel safe by using the words that they use. There's an old adage that one of my first coaches said to me that I never forgot. And she said, sell them what they want and then give them what they need. So it's not to say that we can't necessarily teach them about Vipassana meditation down the line, but ultimately in this beginning phase, we really want to kind of meet them where they are. So we want to make sure we're speaking their language and we're connecting with them in a way that lands. Then we want to create safety. I alluded to intimidation earlier, and sometimes I forget, since I've been in this industry for so long, just how intimidating it can truly be for a brand new customer to enter into a boutique studio for the first time. I read a statistic on a big industry report a couple of months ago that the single biggest reason why clients don't necessarily patronize our business is intimidation. It's not knowing what to wear. It's feeling like they're going to be left out. It's thinking that they need to get in better shape before they come visit us, which we as professionals all think is kind of crazy, right? But that's where they are. So anything we can do to give information so that they feel like they know what they're getting themselves into is a good thing. We want to give tours of the studio. We want to show them exactly, all the things they need to know about the studio's culture. We want to introduce them to their teacher, maybe even introduce them to a couple of other students in class. We want to explain how our classes work and whether or not there are, I don't know, culture things that they need to know about. A welcome package. This is one of my favorite things to do in my own studio business, where we actually give them a physical envelope that's got a letter from me, a personalized schedule, unsexy but important letter about our policies just to, keep the lines of communication open and transparent. We've got promotions in there. So we offer them things to help them make the most of their studio experience. They get a gift certificate for our boutique so they can buy themselves a new mat if they want to, with a couple dollars off. They get an upgrade card if they want to go ahead and decide to upgrade to a package that includes a private session or a massage. They get guest passes. So this is actually the only place that I use free classes in my entire business, is when I'm giving out guest passes to new students. Why? Because my new students are, one, pretty well vetted leads. I can be pretty sure that they're quality clients because they've made it as far as purchasing a trial with us. And two, new students are the most likely to be excited about the business. They just discovered us. They just got into this new thing for themselves. They're excited to actively promote us, and they're still maybe a little bit scared and more willing to come out of their shells if they're taking their classes with a friend. So I love guest passes. Honestly, one of the most effective ways that we drive new leads through the door is through trying to turn every new trial client into 2 or 3 more. So intentional intake, create safety, establish a connection, make a great first impression right off the bat. All right, then education. So this can be specific to your classes. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about your client and you can speak to how your service can solve their problem. We want to give them a realistic picture of how long it's going to take them to see progress. So depending on what the issue is and what the modality is that you offer, this could be different, but by and large, it's safe to say that consistency is key. And we really want to teach our clients that right off the bat. Just a note on how this information is delivered. We can do this face-to-face at the front desk. I am a huge proponent of face-to-face conversations and having well-trained, personable, commission motivated front desk staff at your studio. So for the most part, teachers tend not to fall into that category. So these are conversations that can be happening face to face. These are things that can be communicated via email, via a phone call, via text message. I'll talk in a few slides about some specific touch points that I think should be built in. But depending on the size and the type of your business, this can happen in different ways. The education can happen in different ways. If you're an all online business, of course, this is going to have to happen virtually somehow. If you're a brick and mortar business, this is going to have to be shored up in the studio itself. So you can play around with the delivery, but the content should be more or less the same. Then, of course, we want to educate our clients on their best pricing option. And this is just a smart strategy to have in place, in that your introductory offer, which should be, in my opinion, something like 3 to 4 weeks of unlimited classes for a dollar amount that's roughly 50% of where you ultimately want them to go to membership. That way, you are attracting clients who are willing to pay a reasonable dollar amount for their trial. When the trial is priced super, super low, you might cast the net a little wider. You might have more trial clients, but your conversion is typically going to be a little bit lower because the jump from whatever they paid for in their trial to the membership is just way too high. So I'm a fan of high quality leads who are willing to invest right off the bat. But with that said, the trial should cost, the same as a couple of classes, 2, 3 classes. So yes, I am usually telling my clients that their drop-in price needs to go way, 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 way up. We want to make the trial an easy yes. And the reason why it's so key that we sell the trial on first visit is not only because we want them to come back, but it's because we need that 3 or 4 week container to execute all of these sales touch points. If we don't have them in that container, it's very, very difficult to keep them coming to class, to keep them inspired, and to keep communicating with them. So we want to make sure we're educating them, of course, not only on why our service is going to solve their problems, but also why the intro offer is the best offer. If you have a brick and mortar business, it's really important from a sales perspective to establish the sense of urgency right off the bat. So we want our clients to know, hey, I see you took a single class today. Hope you loved it. Did you know that you can get an entire month of classes for just $29 more? We want to offer to charge them to difference, and it's only available today. We want them to know that they have to take advantage of it right then and there on the spot. Of course, I'm not opposed to offering a new intro offer. I'm not opposed to being a yes person and extending that offer, in different scenarios. But in that moment on the spot, they need to feel like there's a reason to say yes right then and there. So your desk staff or your teachers or whoever's representing you at the front of the studio needs to know to look out for those clients who have bought a drop-in or a trial of, a free class or whatever on their first visit, and offer to upgrade them right then and there on the spot by only charging the difference between your single class and your trial. All right, so assuming we do have all of those pieces in place, you've got your trial member in your pipeline. Now is the time to start nurturing. And there are a bunch of different ways to do this. In my opinion, the most successful sales process is one that is multifaceted, that reaches out to the clients a bunch of times in a bunch of different ways over the course of their trial. So I'm just going to go through a couple of different ways to do that. First and foremost, in the class itself, the teachers need to be involved in the sales process. The teachers need to know who their new students are, and they need to be trained up to give those people a little bit of extra love. Bonus points if your teachers know something about your clients. Maybe there's a note they can refer back to. Maybe they can take a look at their intentional intake. But if your teacher can tailor their service delivery even just a little bit for the new clients in their class, that goes a really, really long way. I often think, there's all kinds of ways to do this depending on the size of your business. But one of the things that really sticks out in my mind is I love SoulCycle. I love their brand. I love the class. I love what they've done for boutique fitness. I just think they're on fire. And I remember the first time I took a SoulCycle class that I got called out as the brand new student, and I actually loved it, right? That was just part of their culture, and the rest of the class clapped, and they celebrate their new students. It's really, really powerful to have that type of tradition in place. So there should be some way, somehow, that your teachers celebrate your new clients, and personalize, again, there's that word again, personalize that experience as much as possible. Then, of course, text messaging. Text messaging is the way of the future. I wish I had my magazine nearby, because there's something in the Boutique Fitness Insider. There's a stat about text messaging, and I think it's some crazy number about how effective it is for retention. But suffice it to say, the people are texting. It's 2022. Text has a 99% open rate. When we have a message to share with our clients that's really important, we should be texting it. Of course, it is possible to have too much of a good thing here, so we want to be careful about what and how we text. And I don't think that the only reason to text clients is when we want to sell them something. That's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So the touch points that I recommend are once after their first class, of course, and the purpose is to ensure that they're satisfied. It's a really, really big deal to make sure that your client had a good experience after their first class. And the risk you take with a low priced intro offer, which is not necessarily a reason not to have one, but just something to be aware of, is that when it's not super expensive, there's a distinct possibility that a client who took the wrong class will say to themselves, you know what, it was just $50. I'm going to call it a wash and go try somewhere else. But when we reach out for client satisfaction, when we reach out to see how their first class was, we have an opportunity to save that relationship. We have an opportunity to say, hey, Sally. Sally is always my fictional person, by the way, so forgive me if I say that more than once, but we get the opportunity to say, hey, Sally, how was your first class? Oh, you know what? It was too hard for me. Oh my gosh, no problem. Did you know that we have a beginner's class on Tuesday nights at 6 o'clock? Can I get you booked into that instead? That can really save a relationship just by making the offer. So we really want to collect feedback after the first class. We want to make sure they were satisfied. We want to make sure they were fitted with the right teacher. We want to make sure they had everything they need. And in that initial text message, when we're establishing texting, when we're forming this relationship, if you can task an actual human being with doing this and make it personal, it will go so far. So Picture this. You receive a text message from a business that you patronized, and it says, way to go. You took your first class. Here's the link to book your next one. Will you respond to it? Maybe, maybe not, right? But if you receive a text from a business that says, hey, Sally, this is Nicole from Blackbird Yoga Studio. How did your back feel after your first class? That is something that you're probably much more likely to respond to and much less likely to be annoyed by, right? Because it came from a person, they were clearly listening to you, and they're actually going the extra mile. So I'm a big fan of tasking a person with operating in this sales advisor role. Then another text message you can send, this is an optional one. This is one that you can automate pretty easily with lots of different softwares, is a middle of the road mid-cycle text message. So say you have a 30-day intro offer. If on day 14, your trial client hasn't come back to class yet, you can shoot a text that says, hey, it's Nicole from Blackbird Yoga Studio. Haven't seen you in a little while. Can we get you booked into your next class? It's really nice to always end text messages with a question that prompts the reader to actually respond to it. And just one question. You don't want to like double stack questions. How was your first class? Can I get you booked in? Would you like a massage? So on and so forth. Try to only ask one question because that's most likely to get a response. And then of course, you want to text to upsell. So this is something that it's really important that our clients see it. I highly recommend having some sort of lever offer. So something that you offer your clients as an incentive to opt into membership right away. Maybe that's something like taking $10 off of the membership price, $20, whatever it is. Maybe it's something like offering half off your first month or adding additional perks for early sign up, whatever it is. When you have an upsell deal, you want to make sure your clients know what that is and make sure they know they only have a couple of days to take advantage of it. So I recommend sending that text maybe 3 to 5 days before the trial expires. Then email. I love email. Email gives us the opportunity to appear in front of these clients a whole bunch of different times in a whole bunch of different ways. And this is where we can really get creative. So the theory behind emailing 4, 6, sometimes as much as 8 times during a trial is not just to deliver great information, although that's important, but it's to appear in their inbox over and over and over again, which sends the subconscious reminder, hey, you bought this thing, go ahead and take advantage of it. But with that said, if we're going to ping a client 8 times in 30 days via email, we've got to have something better to say than just, hey, welcome to the studio. Just letting you know your membership's about to expire in 2 weeks. Remember, your membership's going to expire in 1 week. Remember, your membership's going to expire in 3 days. Oops, your membership expired, right? Like that is when sales get really sleazy. Okay. Our clients know we're running a business. They know we want them to continue on with us. Not to say be a doormat and don't have a call to action at the bottom of your emails, but have something that adds value to their lives. So some of my favorite things to include in a welcome email cycle are emails about your mission or your unique selling proposition. What makes you different from everyone else? I like an owner origin story. So introduce yourself as the owner of the business, share a little bit about your why, share a little bit about the struggles that you share with your clients. Be a little bit vulnerable and transparent. It goes a really long way in building that emotional connection. Feature certain classes or certain teachers. One of the things that I'm working on in my studio right now that I'm really nerdily excited about is that we have included a survey in one of our welcome emails where we ask the client a little bit about what they're looking for, their motivation for looking for it, what types of experience they have, what types of classes that they're looking for. And then we send them into a particular funnel based on the results of that survey. So if they say, for example, that they're interested in stress reduction or meditation, then we drip out an email that offers our meditation and our yin classes. And so they're only seeing a couple of different classes, which makes the decision less challenging and taps into that element of personalization, even though it's automated. On a different note, if they tell us that they're interested in losing weight and getting stronger and breaking good sweat, they get emails about our vinyasa classes and our, our more intense exercise offerings. And so I'm really excited about that in my business right now, actually. And there's some really cool things you can do with technology to make the client feel like you're speaking directly to them, even though, of course, it's completely automated. So I love featuring, the right teachers in front of the right clients, featuring the right classes. You can highlight ancillary services. So these are things that drive sales, but also just improve buy-in to the studio. So if you offer appointments or massages or private sessions, or I don't know, a really cool retail boutique, send an email about it that encourages the client to take advantage. Testimonials. This is one of my favorite things to send right before an upsell email, because testimonials, social proof, really, really powerful in buying decisions. It's one thing for us to say we love our businesses and we get our clients great results, and it's an entirely different one altogether for someone else to say it. So if you can send an email that includes some testimonials, highlight some transformation stories of past clients, really powerful stuff. And then, of course, the upsell email, an email that invites them to continue on, presents your offer in a really, really clear way with, of course, an easy link, call to action button to get them to move forward with it. And then, of course, I spoke about this earlier. In studio, we want to make sure that sales conversations are happening face to face. So key. And if I had to choose between, giving a great class, I don't know, great class experience comes first, actually. But if I had to choose between email, text, and in-studio sales conversations, I am choosing in-studio face-to-face every single time. People buy from people, and people are much more likely to say yes to someone looking them in the eye and saying, hey, would you like to book in your next class? Would you like to become a member? Would you like to upgrade to a trial? Much more likely to say yes to a human being. They're also much more likely to say no to a human being. Managing objections is a part of sales, and it doesn't have to be a hard close. It doesn't have to be pushy, but it is really, really important that you're understanding why and how clients object to you and starting to work around that. And so when someone offers them their membership face to face, the client who's maybe on the fence about it is much more likely to start saying things like, well, I'm going on vacation next week, or let me check with my husband, or can I, start in a couple of months, or whatever it is, which gives your team, your front desk staff, your sales staff, whoever's having these conversations, the ability to overcome and manage those objections. So some of them are, what they are, but maybe your staff says, sure, no problem. We'll start the membership in 6 weeks. I just need to get your credit card on file, but you won't be charged until then. Or maybe they say, okay, I understand unlimited membership is not the right fit for you right now, but maybe you'd like to try our once a week membership. We'll see how it goes. And then you can always upgrade after that. Those are the types of conversations that it's very difficult to have any other way. So in studio conversations, or even phone conversations, really great. Okay. And then, of course, the personalized recommendations. I didn't say this earlier, although I just mentioned it just a minute ago, but as a foundational piece of pricing strategy, I love membership tiers. I love, love, love different levels of membership for different levels of usage. For a yoga studio, usually average attendance is 4 times a month. For a fitness studio, it's something like 6. But it's important for us as owners to realize that we always remember the clients who come every single day, and we think about like, Steve, he comes 30 times in 30 days, right? Like, it's my real person's name. Don't let him know I said that, right? But like, it's really easy to remember those people. We don't think about the people who come, 1, 2, 3 times and maintain their membership. So on average, it's usually something like 4 to 6 times. And we want to meet those people, right? Like we want to have an offer for them that is in service of them and that meets them where they are, but at the same time maintains the health of the studio by getting them on an auto pay. That way we've got the consistent and recurring revenue. And so membership tiers are really great, which also gives the client choices. Those choices feel like freedom. That feels really good to a client in a sales relationship. And it gives you or your sales team the opportunity to make a more personal recommendation and a more flexible recommendation. So I absolutely love this as a sales strategy. In my own business, when we implemented this years ago, we saw our retention skyrocket. So if you haven't tried this already, I highly recommend it. Perks. Perks are a really nice way to incentivize the sale of your membership. So there are things that you can do to make it more appealing, to make it feel exclusive. That sense of exclusivity, also a really, really powerful driver of membership conversion. Things like, early access to, I don't know, spots in class, or early signups for events, or mat storage, or guest passes, or discounts on retail and workshops. Get creative. But anything that you can do to wrap that into your offer feels really good. And then, of course, your lever, your promotional price, your offer, right? That just is the nail in the coffin, the final step to asking your client to move forward with you. All right, then we know it to be true. It is a sad, inevitable part of running this business that sometimes clients don't convert. So it's really important that the sales journey doesn't stop the moment the trial ends. And that's a trap that a lot of my studios have fallen into in the past. One of the things I like to do in my own studio and with my clients is to have a package incentive or discount that goes out after the trial's expired. So we've done all this stuff, we've executed all of the elements of the sales process, and still they don't convert. Usually, if a client's been coming on their trial, they're not opting out of membership because they didn't like you or they don't plan to continue with you, but maybe it's just something about not wanting to have a credit card on file, not wanting to be on the hook, whatever that may be. And so for that client, a package might be a more appealing option. And if we can offer a small 20% discount, something like this, for use, time sensitive is really important. Maybe you say, if you grab a 10 pack within the next 48 hours, we'll take 20% off or whatever it is. But if you incentivize a package right after that, you may just pick up a few people who wouldn't have moved on with you otherwise. We want to solicit feedback. So I would say that feedback from the people who love your business is great and important, but feedback from the people who don't love your business is even more important. And these are clients who are probably going to be willing to give that to you, particularly if they're asked about it face-to-face or over the phone. So understand why your clients don't convert. Have your sales team ask why they've chosen not to continue on with you. And if you start to notice any kind of trend, maybe it's the length of your commitment, or maybe it is something about the way you've presented it, or maybe it's the price, maybe, right? Like if any of that starts to come up with frequency, that's an opportunity for you to adjust your messaging or your offer. And then of course, you want to have a win back list. This is something that I build with the vast majority of my clients so that we have a way to communicate with our customers consistently in an attempt to nurture them and inspire them to come back and start this process all over again. And so we want to touch base with our clients every couple of weeks throughout the lifetime of their relationship with the studio. So go for no, go for the unsubscribe. Don't be afraid to reach out with an offer, maybe an offer that becomes increasingly more compelling as time goes on, but we want to reach out to them every couple of weeks in an attempt to bring them back into the fold, get them back into the trials so that you've got a cycle going on and no one ever slips through the cracks again. All right, just a couple of words about me. First of all, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, I hope I've inspired you with a couple of ideas you can use to improve your sales process, personalize your sales process, strengthen your offers, and hopefully grow the membership base of your studio. But if you're looking for any additional support, I would love to talk to you. I offer a free 60-minute, no strings attached studio strategy session to anyone who might be interested in potential work together. And you can book that through my website, NicoleDeandriaConsulting.com. I also have a totally free Facebook group, really active, really engaged with lots of other studio owners. It's called the Profitable Studio Community on Facebook. So you can hear my musings there. You can connect with me there and also connect with a lot of great peers in this business. Thanks so much for being here and have a wonderful day.